Hello everyone, this is Gage from Gondorian Smith, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys another Third Age Reforged online multiplayer battle replay. And this one is a 2 versus 2 on the Grassy Plains map. I know on the surface it might not look like it would, or it might not seem like it'd be a super interesting battle, but trust me, this one is actually very, very cool because it ends 95 to 96%. I of course will not tell you guys who wins, but this one I can tell you is incredibly close. And this one was sent to me by both Second Pink and Dio over there. However, Second Pink didn't send it to me first, so I decided to go ahead and use it from his point of view. But without any further ado, we can go ahead and go into the army compositions, beginning with Second Pink, who is commanding one of my favorite factions to play as currently, that being Isengard. He's got a couple units here of the Uruk-hai crossbows on either flank with their stakes deployed to protect their flanks. He's got a front line, or no, second line back here rather, of 3 units of Uruk-hai pikes, as well as 4 units of Uruk-hai infantry on the front lines. In front of that, he's got 2 units of Snagga skirmishers protecting his 1 Isengard ballista, which you can see is already firing. This thing is very damaging to targets that are blobbed up. And honestly, because of the area of effect damage that it has, it honestly can do pretty well against targets in loose formation as well. For the rest of his army, he has got 2 units of the standard Isengard War Grinders. These guys are actually good because they are actually slightly better than both the Angmar and the Misty Mountains Wargs. However, they do, I believe, cost slightly more in terms of money. Over here, he also has 1 unit of the Champions of the White Hand, and somewhere around here, he also has a unit of Nazkai for his general. It probably is mixed in here with either the Pikes or the Uruk-hai infantry, but looks like right now we can't really see where it is. However, they don't really need much of an explanation. They're, of course, an AP two-handed shock infantry unit with multiple HP. However, they only have 64 men in the unit. Over here we can see his ally, which is going to be Dio, commanding the army of Harad. He's got a couple units here of the Haradrim archers, as well as a couple units of the Southron archers. And the Southron archers are just basically the slightly better variant of the Haradrim archers, but still they're both not very good. For his main line, he's got 3 units of the Muhad Beast Tamers, who are a pike unit. And like most pikes, they will do very well if set up correctly. However, also like a lot of the Haradrim forces, they are incredibly lightly armored. So they can get skirmished on by basically about every archer unit in the game, so you have to be very protective of them from archers, which is generally why people don't bring them that often, because being pikes, they also are pretty slow when walking in spear wall formation. However, to protect them, he also has 3 units of the Muhad warriors, who also don't have a ton of armor. However, they do have a pretty nice shield value. These guys are, of course, just sword and shield infantry, not quite as good as the dismounted Serpent Guard, but they do have more men in the unit, and they are also quite a bit cheaper. Behind them, he has got 2 units of the AP Muhad Berserkers. These guys are, of course, also very lightly armored, but very damaging with their AP maces. He's got 1 unit of the Muhad Beast Hunters. These guys are very good javelins. They also happen to be AP in melee with their maces. He's got 1 unit of the AP Southron Warband. And for his cavalry, he does have a pretty significant amount of. He's got 2 units of the Haradrim Raiders. These guys are horse archers. They should actually do very well considering who he is going to be facing up against. He's got 1 unit of the Black Serpent Bodyguard, which is not where his general is, I should say. He also has 2 units of the Standard Serpent Guard, and his general is actually over here in the unit of the Champions of Nafrat. So surprisingly enough, he's not going to be bringing any trollmen besides these Champions of Nafrat, but he might have some hidden Hashari Stalkers around here somewhere. His army looks slightly small, but of course I could be very wrong about that. But anyway, we can now go over here to their 2 enemies who are going to be playing as the same faction. They're both going to be playing as Mordor, the first of which is going to be Riz, with a very balanced Mordor army. He's got 4 units of the standard Moron infantry. Against most of the Haradrim forces, they should do relatively well. However, the AP of Harad should do a pretty significant damage to the Moron infantry. He also has a couple units of Moron heavy maulers up here. AP not going to be super helpful against Harad, but still their overall attack should help them relatively well. He's got 2 units of the standard Orc archers, as well as 2 units of the Mornon archers. Skirmishing down Harad, even with Mordor, is always going to be a viable option. He's got a couple units of the Orc javelins, probably to deal with things like Champions of Nafrat and Trollmen of Harad. He's also got 2 units of the Sauron's Will. Again, the AP not going to be super helpful. However, the overall attack still should be able to make them rather cost effective. He also has, it looks like, 2 units of the Free Orc Fodder. He's got 1 unit of the Numenorean Lancers, very deadly off the charge, and honestly not bad at all in melee. He's got the Melkor's Chosen for his general's bodyguard. These guys are incredibly deadly. However, they are rather slow. He also has, I believe, 1 unit of the Temple Executioners, very high in skill, however not AP, so they should do pretty good against most of Harad's army, considering the fact that AP would be kind of wasted on Harad. And for his final units, he has got 1 unit of the Temple Inquisitors, who are, of course, anti-cav, with also a pretty nice charge as well. Anyway, we can now go over here to his ally, which is going to be, again, another Mordor army, this time being commanded by Apex Celtic or Celtic, whichever you prefer, or I guess technically whichever he prefers, because it is his name, of course. Anyway, he's got 1 unit of the AP Temple Guard here in the front lines, as well as, it looks like 1 unit of Mornon, no, 2 units of Mornon archers, as well as 2 units of Orc archers. In front of them, he's got a couple units of the Orc fodder, as well. He also has the Melkor's Chosen, not for his bodyguard, but still, not being the bodyguard, it actually will free these guys up to be a little bit more aggressive, which I actually do like. He also has got 1 unit of Mountain Trolls and 1 unit of Olag High for his Troll contingency, and he actually has a very interesting Mordor army, I thought, because he also has 1 unit of Orc fodder here, and he has 3 units actually of the Orc Javelins, even though they do cap out at 2. However, because he is facing against Isengard, units like the Mornon Infantry would definitely struggle, whereas if you bring a 3rd unit of Orc Javelins, the Javelins will be able to do a huge amount of damage to units like Uruk-hai Pikes and definitely to Uruk-hai Infantry. For his general, he also has 1 unit of the Temple Executioners. For his cav, he also has 1 unit of the Temple Inquisitors and 1 unit of the Numenor Lancers. But if you'll excuse me for just a second, I need to go, but I will be right back. Alright, so I am back. Unfortunately, my allergies are still going a little bit crazy, but thankfully I've only got about 3 weeks left on this landscaping job, and then I will be switching tracks here. But anyway, without any further ado, now that the army compositions are over with, we can go ahead and get into the replay itself. I also should mention that because Apex Celtic does not really have... Well, I was going to say he might have a hidden unit of Rangers around here, and honestly that would not be a bad pick. It probably really wouldn't be a bad pick for Riz, because he is going up against Harad, who not only is like a really horde-type faction, but they also are very lightly armored, so body piercing tends to do extremely well against them. Anyway, Isengard over here, as you probably noticed, does not have any standard foot archers. He only has his 2 units of crossbows, so I think he's going to find it very difficult to deal with the 5 units, I think, of foot archers that Celtic has brought to the field today. Very good target right there as well to try to go after the Melkor's Chosen, because the Melkor's Chosen, I believe, would definitely beat the champions of the White Hand in a 1-on-1 battle. Uruk-hai crossbows, while they do have pretty poor range, they do have 14 missile damage. That is also AP, and I believe either ignores the shield values entirely or maybe halves them. So very deadly. However, like I said, they do have very short range and a rather slow reload time. However, to compensate a little bit for that fact, they also do have some pretty decent armor. However, you can only bring 2 of them before the price increases. Oh, yes, he does indeed have some Numenorean Shadow Guard over here. Looks like they were going to try to get some shots off maybe on the pikes or the crossbows, but they are going to retreat. Looks like Sengping's going to try to give a little bit of a chase here with his Champions of the White Hand, but he needs to be careful because those Olag High and Orc Javelins and Temple Executioners are coming in quick, so he needs to be very careful of that right there, because he does not want to lose that 1500 florin unit right away. Looks like he is also taking some skirmish fire. Over here, looks like some nice team play. Looks like Mordor has really just set up along all lines here, just to form one huge battle line, which should definitely work out good for them. Are there Shadow Guard down there? I would assume that Riz would maybe bring some Shadow Guard, just because against these pikes and stuff in general, it would do very well. But also, something I was going to mention is that the Temple Guard here, if they want to, could really shred through either the pikes or the Nazkai. It looks like the Ballista Crew is actually taking a lot of fire right now, but they are not in loose formation, so that is probably why. He could also just bide his time, honestly, with his AP arrows and wait to go after units like the Champions of the White Hand, who would be really excellent targets, honestly, for the AP arrows. But it looks like Apex Celtic here is trying to skirt some of his forces around the edge. It looks like mostly Temple, yeah, it looks like some just quick forces mostly. Temple Inquisitors, oh, Numenorean Lancers gonna get a nice charge off here. Oh, it looks like the crossbows aren't even going to get a volley off, because it looks like Second Pink decided to try to make them run away instead of fire. So they are, ooh, actually, Numenorean Lancers not getting as good of a charge off because they did not want to fight against those Champions of the White Hand who are right there, as well as these 2 Warg Riders. But they're going to go in for another charge here, and that is, oh, He's going to try to, yeah, he's going to skirt out of there pretty quick there before taking too much damage. But that is definitely a very big loss for Second Ping to lose so many of his crossbows this early on. Especially because of the fact that he's losing so many of his artillerymen early on as well. Looks like he was going to try to crossbow some of those Numenorean Lancers as they retreated. But unfortunately for him, those Numenorean Lancers are very, very quick. And they're going to get out of the range of those crossbows very easily. The Ballista is still firing. Looks like this time going after some of these Orc Javelins as well as hitting a couple of those Temple Executioners. It looks like he did actually hit a few of those Melkor's Chosen, so that's definitely a big win there for Isengard. Crossbows taking a lot of fire here. Unfortunately, it looks like Second Ping is not going to put them in loose formation, which will cause them to take a lot of casualties because while they do have pretty decent armor, they're taking arrows from a lot of different units right now, so they definitely need to either go in loose formation or retreat further behind the lines. You can see they actually are going now into loose formation. And I still want to find these dang Nazkai. I don't know where they are. They're somewhere. Oh no. Here comes some Olaghai. The crossbows are here as well, but oh. Yes, looks like the Olaghai are going to get a charge off into either the, yeah, right into the wargs. And generally Olaghai are going to do extremely, extremely well against any type of cavalry. Especially when supported by other cav, like these Temple Inquisitors and the Lancers back there, as well as the Melkor's Chosen. You can see the crossbows are trying to fire at some different stuff, but looks like they're not going to be able to do so very effectively. Yeah, honestly, I think this is a really, really nice play here by Mordor, mainly because of the fact that wargs tend to be very, very powerful. And I don't mean like a little bit powerful, I mean incredibly, incredibly powerful against any types of cav, and against Mordor, who can only bring 3 units of cav max. They're generally going to struggle very heavily. You can even see the Temple Inquisitors down to 34, and the Warg Riders are still relatively healthy, which is why Celtic here is going to have to commit another unit here, that being the Melkor's Chosen. Champions of White Hand not liking that fight against the Olaghai, unsurprisingly. And ooh, here comes some pikes. There's the crossbows back there as well, firing into those Lancers. And the advance of the pikes is going to be enough to chase away those Melkor's Chosen, and these Temple Inquisitors are going to kind of stand there and take some volleys. But oh, it looks like Second Ping is going to rush forward now. He's rushing forward with his pikes, his Nazkai, his infantry is in here as well. However, I do believe he's kind of blocking up here with his 2 units of Uruk infantry. Going against just the Mordor archers is probably a little bit excessive. But elsewhere, it seems like he is kind of spreading himself thin, and you can see the javelins of Mordor are really doing some heavy lifting right here. You can see Uruk infantry down to 143 already, and they're taking more javelin volleys continuously, so not good for Second Ping. Oh, and here's the Numenorean Lancers going to be able to charge straight into the back of these Uruk infantry. And because Isengard isn't quite as horde-like as most other Orc factions, that being because their infantry is mainly better generally in terms of stats, they can't really surround quite as well as other factions like Isengard. So it looks like he kind of spread himself a little too thin here, and that unit is going to rout immediately. Melkor's Chosen at 26, crossbows there are at 50. Here are the Harad Raiders, the Olaghai back there. The Olaghai, since they are now unsupported, are going to take a lot of losses. And it looks like because Harad has not pushed forward either, it looks like Riz is going to be unable to help his ally in a big way. And yeah, because it's basically just Orc fodder and Orc archers holding back these Uruk infantry and Nazkai, Celtic is going to find his backlines here attacked very quickly. However, the whole time that Second Ping is advancing, he is taking a ton of javelins from Celtic's 3 javelin units. Over here we got Mountain Trolls, and because there's no AP from Isengard over here, those Trolls are going to be very effective. Lancers back there. Looks like Harad is just continuously skirmishing down Riz. Doing it quite effectively, if I may say so. I don't know where the Temple Guard... The Temple Guard were around here, but I don't know where they are anymore. Oh, Numenorean Lancers charging to the back of these Snaga skirmishers, the Isengard skirmishers, and we can take a quick look over here. Looks like a lot of the cavalry, with the exception of those Lancers, has now been taken out. The crossbows are going to be rushing forward now. Over here, the pikes and the wargs were enough to take out the Olaghai and the Inquisitors, so they will now be able to move into the main fight, where they are definitely needed, because it is getting very close over here, especially because at any time Riz could come over here and help out. And with something like Lancers, he could cause a massive amount of damage. Right here, the Uruk infantry and Nazkai taking a lot of losses to the Temple Executioners and also to those Lancers. But honestly, if the Nazkai, wherever they are, are able to countercharge the Lancers, they will be able to cause a huge amount of damage, which is definitely something to note. Over here where there are no Nazkai and now 2 cavalry units here, the Uruk-hai are really starting to struggle here. You can see they're actually thinking about routing. Ooh, not looking good, honestly, for Isengard. We'll call this team Team 1 because that is who sent me the replay. Lancers here going to charge into the southern archers just as Harad is now making his move forward. Going to pull out there last minute, it looks like. And yeah, over here, it's looking close. It's looking close, honestly, because the Mordor infantry is struggling, but they are being supported by mountain trolls as well as by some cav. You can see, oh, these poor Uruk-hai infantry, they're shaken, and they're going to take a full-on charge by those Lancers. You can see they were able to counter-charge, but... Oh. Okay, they took only 10 losses. Honestly, that's not bad for taking a frontal charge from AP Lancers. That's not horrible, honestly. Over here, Uruk-hai infantry paired with the Nazkai, doing reasonably well, but because the executioners are here as well, that's definitely keeping things pretty even. And elsewhere, Celtic just has so many fodder. It looks like Second King is really just having a difficult time getting his troops to really be that, or really to be very cost effective. And as the Temple Guard are now starting to focus down units like the Champions of the White Hand, who are going after the routing Melkor's Chosen, things are still looking not too great for Second King. However, if Harad is able to beat Riz pretty quickly here, then things may still be able to turn around. The crossbows are also back there trying to do their bit, but they might not be able to fire that much, honestly. And yes, here we go. We've got Muhad warriors reforming the lines with the Beast Tamers just as the Mordor infantry and the Mordor heavy maulers are about to crash into their lines. Honestly, this will be a pretty close fight, but with the pikes, I definitely think that Harad... Well, I don't know about definitely, but I think that Harad will probably be able to come out on top of this. Ooh, and here's some Serpent Guard getting a nice charge off into the back of those Mordor heavy maulers last minute. Looks like they were also charging towards Sauron's will. Not the best target, but still. Ooh, Serpent Guard charging into some stuff. Mordor infantry, but not liking that charge, honestly. Probably because these Melkor's Chosen here. There's some Orc fodder also going way around the flank here. But again, Riz, the Mordor cavalry, while it may be very few in number, is extremely potent. Surprisingly, not any Black Legion of Barad-dûr from either of the Mordor armies. Ooh, honestly, ugh, not looking good at all right now for Isengard. You can see he's still got some units that are still kind of fighting, but for the most part, his army has been pretty much defeated, it looks like. So it is going to free up what's left of Celtic's forces to now turn and go after Harad. You can see there's definitely still pockets of fighting, like these Uruk-hai infantry and wherever those Nazkai are. There's 33 left. But they're still constantly taking cycle charges and javelins and BP arrows. Wherever there is still a few Isengard forces that are still getting wrecked. But honestly, because of how low tier Celtic's forces are, even though there's still so few Isengarders left, they still might be able to turn this around, especially with this pretty fresh pike walk here. But oh, it's not going to be fresh for long if it keeps taking javelin volleys like that. The Warg Riders need to try to go into those Orc Javelins or the Numenorean Shadow Guard. However, you do have to be careful when going after the Orc Javelins with Cav because they are technically spear Cav, so they tend to be able to take Cav charges relatively well considering how low tier they are. Your Temple Guard getting charged by Champions of the White Hand. Not a bad idea, but you definitely need to get the Champions out of there before they get stuck in melee for too long. Over here, Champions of Nafrat, Muhad Berserkers all running around as well. Oof, in the back lines, the Cavalry of Mordor really doing well. Champions of Nafrat, similarly to the Nazkai, can actually tend to countercharge AP Lancers and stuff like that relatively well. Oh, okay, Temple Inquisitors going to the backs of pikes. Okay, this is always a very risky move going into the backs of pikes like this. Because if you're going up against someone who is very attentive, they can generally turn them around like this pretty quickly. So if you're not attentive yourself, you can find your cavalry taking a lot of unnecessary losses. But again, because the Muhad warriors are being protected by the pikes, there's not a lot he can cycle charge anyway. But it looks like he is going after those Berserkers. Champions of Nafrat are around here, Serpent Guards running around. This is has been a chaotic battle. You can see routing on both sides. Constant Cav charges also from both sides. Looks like Harad is definitely dealing with Mordor's assault better than Second King. Ooh, but over here, Serpent Guard, Melkor's Chosen, you're gonna easily be able to beat those Serpent Guard. But again, honestly, over here, Second King just... It was just a difficult situation for him all around because of how many skirmishers Apex Celtic actually did have. This was just a very, very good counter army to Isengard, but even still, Second Pink is still being able to do his bit of damage. You can see he's still got some forces. He's still definitely not going to go down without a fight. He's still got his Ward Riders. He's still got honestly a decent amount of pikes left over. He's going to try to chase down those Temple Guard with the pikes just to try to stop them from firing into the back of his lines for as long as possible. There's the Harad and Raiders back there. He's still got some crossbows, honestly. So definitely it is not over for Second Pink. But honestly, he's going to have to be quick about it, and he's going to try to have to do as much damage as possible, because over here, Riz is starting to succumb kind of to the numbers and to the cavalry of Mor. It looks like you can see a lot of his Muhad warriors in the center have been defeated or routed. The constant cav charges, as well as now the javelins coming in, are proving to be a constant nuisance to his army. But you can see he is also going to be getting some nice charges off with his AP Lancers. His Blacksmith Bodyguard's going to go straight into the back of those Moron Heavy Maulers and the Sauron's Will. However, he does need to get them out of there because I believe both of those units do have a bonus against cav. He's also taking some javelin volleys point blank there, so he needs to go very quickly around there. He's going to actually charge into the Orc Javelins. Again, not a bad idea. However, you do have to be careful because they are a spear unit. And yeah, the Melkor is chosen just constantly running around. Honestly, it's really hard to stop powerful units like this. Honestly, he's probably just going to have to chase them around with his Serpent Guard and his Southern Warband. Otherwise, this could pretty much mean sudden death for his entire army, because you can see the fear effects of those Melkor's Chosen are causing a decent amount of, you know, like, I guess, almost routing among his forces. Back there, we've got the Herodon Raiders getting chased by Orc Fodder. Southern Archers are also back there. And here we've got Berserkers going against Orc Fodder. The Berserkers will come out on top in that fight, and hopefully be able to be committed elsewhere in the battle. Temple Inquisitors at 6, and again, this battle has been absolutely chaotic and insane this whole time. Really, really awesome 2v2. Definitely one of the better ones I've seen in a long time. Orc Javelins definitely doing a good job at taking out these Champions of Nafrat and the Pikes over here. Hopefully, Dio will notice this and try to turn them and go after the Orc Javelins. However, he does have to be careful because that is his general's unit. You can see they're actually taking some charges in the back there as well. Over here, Apex Celtic is moving forward with some Orc Fodder to try to go after these crossbows, and honestly, it looks like Apex Celtic has really started to struggle, honestly, against the few remaining forces of Second Pink. So Second Pink making a very nice comeback here, showing that because Celtic went for such a low-tier kind of army, even a few well-placed Uruk-hai infantry units that are definitely way better in terms of stats than most of these Mordor forces can really just sway the tide of a battle where it had been very one-sided. Unfortunately, he's not being able to chase in these Temple Guard quite as effectively as he would have been if he had Cav. He's going to instead turn towards these Numenor and Shadow Guard. However, that will allow, yes, these Temple Guard to fire at something, probably this blob of Uruk-hai heavy infantry over here, as well as the Pikes and the Nazkai. Nazkai is still fighting strong, and I think most of the Executioners have been taken out. And yes, there are still a few of the crossbows back there as well. Definitely not a good thing for the remains of Apex Celtic's forces. And you can see it's been incredibly close the entire battle. It's 83 to 80% right now, so within 3%. Very close. Champions of Nafrat still looking relatively healthy, but again, those Melkor's Chosen proving to be very troublesome. And as these Black Summer Bodyguards are now down to only 13, Dio is really running out of options to be able to take out these heavy cav. Ooh, and it looks like most of his front line has been taken out. Again, similarly to Second Pink, he is now going to have to resort to certain blocks of infantry elsewhere. And right here you can see his 67 Muhad Berserkers getting attacked by Sauron's Will, Mornon Archers, Mornon Heavy Maulers, some Orc Javelins, and also the Temple Executioners. So unfortunately for Dio, these Muhad Berserkers are going to get taken out very quickly. He still has his Haradrim Raiders, though, trying to skirmish down those Melkor's Chosen. But again, being... Oh, sorry, my allergies. But again, being multiple HP, those Melkor's Chosen are going to be able to take those arrows relatively well. Black Summer Bodyguard is going to be very effective, or very important, rather, at taking out some of these higher tier units like the Temple Executioners, who are still very healthy. However, he might have charged a little bit too far here, and it looks like a lot of these Blackstone bodyguards are getting cut down. Oh, looks like that might actually be the end of that unit of Blackstone bodyguards. Very, very unfortunate for Dio. However, he may be able to escape with a few. Oof, not many though, not many at all. Very, very unfortunate. He's still got Beast Tamers, he's still got Champions of Nafarat. Champions of Nafarat very deadly, but only 44 against those 61, or 58 rather, Executioners is going to be a difficult fight. Over here, the Shadow Guard is about to get in range of Harad. Definitely not good, because that is BP right there. Very, very deadly to a lightly armored faction like Harad. And over here, Apex Celtic seems to have almost been just about defeated by Second Pink. I mean, he still, of course, has his archers running around and his few infantry units. But for the most part, it looks like he might actually get beat by Second Pink. So a really nice comeback here from DF Second Pink. Ooh, the Haradrim Raiders. They're horse archers, so they're not going to have a great charge, but they're still going to be much better at chasing down archers than, say, the Nazkai or the pikemen of Second Pink. Orc fodder back there. Ooh. I don't know, it's still looking pretty iffy for Team 1. So far, I think Mordor is still definitely has the upper hand. However, that's now within 2%, so... Oh, I don't know. Champions of Nefer at 33 going to take a charge by the Melkor's Chosen. Oh, not good at all. Oh, you can see a lot of those champions going down there. Thankfully, though, Dio's General has not fallen from that deadly charge. The Beast Tamers, because they have been able to set up their formation pretty well, they're actually doing very good against the Siren's Will and the Moran Archers. But again, these poor Champions of Nafarat getting attacked relentlessly by those Melkor's Chosen. However, they were able to do a pretty decent amount of damage. Honestly, at this point, Dio's just going to have to try to keep those Melkor's Chosen away from his little remaining infantry for as long as possible. But again, over here, it's looking very close. You can see... How many champions are there? 12. There's still 47 of those executioners. There's still the Temple Guard. We can take a quick look over here. Looks like Apex Celtic is kind of running away. But again, I mean, that's unsurprising because he only has a few troops remaining. Over here, the Temple Guard going to be actually very effective at taking out these last Uruk-hai infantry and the last pikes over here. So not looking too good for... Not looking too great for Second Pink. You can see he's actually going to switch tracks here with his Nazkai and instead go after those Temple Guard, who are also very good in melee. There are some pikemen, though, that are about to be freed up so they can move over to help out. And that's going to be very, very necessary over here as well, because there's still some Orc fodder. There's still a lot of units over here that are still very deadly. And with the body piercing, oh, I don't know, man. It's looking real close. Only 5 champions of Nafarat left. There's some Southern archers in here. Here's some more Orc fodder. There's some Haradrim Raiders. And oh, these constant charges from Riz's Melkor's Chosen. Not looking good at all for Team 1. Although, honestly, it's still very close. 91 to 88 within 3%. So it can still turn either way. And there are still 2 full units, well, relatively healthy units, of the Haradrim Raiders. So... Oof, I don't know. I don't know. It's just so close at this point. I have no idea who will win. Nazkai, where are they? 10 left. Definitely taking losses against those Temple Guard, but the Temple Guard are also taking losses. With the advance of these pikes, ooh, I don't know. The Orc fodder are going to try to protect these Numenor and Shadow Guard from the Horse Archers, but unfortunately for Celtic, I think his Rangers here are going to get taken out. He's going to try to make a nice move here by rushing them towards his spears. He's going to try to tempt Dio into rushing into those spears, but Dio's going to notice this and turn tail. Ooh, Haradrim Raiders shaken. Ugh, I don't know. With the fear that is caused by these Melkor's Chosen, I still don't know if these 2 units of Raiders will be able to take out those Melkor's Chosen and still have enough left over to try to take out these 43 Temple Executioners. There's only 2 champions of Nafarat left, one of which is actually Dio's General. You can see, ooh, we actually got a nice kill there on the Orc fodder. Hell yeah! I think I might have taken. I have no cause for shame of taking a screenshot of the general killing someone. Over here, the Rangers no longer getting harassed by the Cavalry are going to be able to get some nice volleys off into this small blob that is pretty much all that remains of Second King's forces. He's going to try to spread out here, but unfortunately it looks like a lot of damage is being done regardless. And with the Orc fodder very close by, I don't know if the Horse Archers will be able to help out that much against the Numenor Guard. Oh, actually, they will be effective because the Orc fodder got right in the way of these Rangers being able to... Well, the Orc fodder is no longer actually going to be able to protect the BP Rangers because they are actually attacking the Uruk-hai infantry here. And the Uruk-hai forces, I definitely think, will be able to win against those Orc fodder. Yes, here comes a ooh, nice charge. Nice charge. I mean, again, being Horse Archers, not going to have a deadly charge, but if they keep harassing these Horse Archers, if they keep harassing these Rangers, they will definitely fall. You can see there's only 12 Rangers left. Ooh, you can see the frames going down. There's not many left. 95 to 91. And again, 18 Melkor's chosen. These guys just so powerful. Oh, but the crossbows. I didn't even notice this. Crossbows are actually what is targeting these Melkor's chosen here. Taking out a few more. And these Southron Warband are trying to protect them. There goes the Mordor General with Apex Celtics. Oh no. The Uruk-hai crossbows and the Southron Warband teaming up to try to take out these Melkor's chosen. Oh, this is going to be close. This is going to be so close because the crossbows, if the crossbows are not protected, I think Mordor will win this hands down. Isengard doesn't have enough infantry, nor does Harad, I think, to be able to take out those 43 executioners, which are honestly pretty much the only really deadly thing on the field. However, Mordor still might just have the overall numbers. Oh no, but yeah, the crossbow's getting taken out. However, Southern Warband able to charge into the Melkor's chosen, and if the Mordor General is taken out here, things could still turn back in favor of Team 1. Oh, but actually, there's 11 Melkor's chosen left over. The crossbows and Southern Warband are going to have to run away before the infantry of Mordor arrives. But with those Haradrim Raiders, there's still 2 units of them. They might be able to team up to be able to take out those Melkor's chosen. Oh no, Southern Warband going to get taken out here, I believe. Wavering. Yeah, they're going to get taken out, I believe. They're probably going to rout as soon as something attacks them. Yeah, look over here. Looks like Team 1 has been victorious. 7 Nazkai remaining. Oof. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. Especially as these crossbows are now going to get run down by the Melkor's chosen. Only 10 left. But, oh, so close. Because even a few of these crossbows would have been very helpful at taking out these temple executioners. But you can see there's barely any frames remaining. There go the crossbows routing. So we'll take a quick assessment of what is left, and then we'll go ahead and finish this replay. So you can see there are 7 Uruk-hai infantry in that unit, 9 pikes in that, 7 Nazkai, 50 pikes in that, and then you can see there's 23 Haradrim Raiders plus 47. So that's about 70 Raiders in all. And that's pretty much about it, because you can see the Southern Warband are routing, these pikes are routing, and then Mordor has 9 Melkor's chosen. He's got some archers, he's got some Sauron's will, he's got some orc fodder, and then his most important piece, his 43 temple executioners. 96 to 95. Okay, we'll go ahead and continue this for the last few frames. So keep in mind of what the Team 1 and Team 2 have left over. It's either going to reform their alliance here for the final rush, and unfortunately, one of the players did actually crash right at the end, right before Mordor decided to, or right before Mordor was going to do their final rush against these few remaining forces of Harad and Isengard. So that will unfortunately be the end of this replay, but it was incredibly fun. Big thank you to both Dio and Second Tank who did send this to me. Incredibly chaotic, incredibly fun replay, and unfortunately we do not get to see the end of it. However, I would definitely encourage you guys to go ahead and tell me down in the comments who you guys think could win. And we can actually see quite clearly here what they've got left. 65 Orc Fodder, 43 Temple Executioners, some Maulers, some Archers, some Sauron's Will, Mordor archers, and then the 9 Melkors chosen. So 1 Mordor general is dead. The Harad general is not dead, but I believe he is routing somewhere around here. No, he's still alive. So the Harad general is still alive, and the Isengard general is still alive. So honestly, I don't know. I would say if Mordor's general had fallen, if Mordor's general gets taken out, that Team 1 might still have a chance, but I believe the Temple Executioners are locked morale, and honestly, by themselves, I think they would be able to take out most of what's left over here, especially because the Horse Archers are not AP off the charge, so it would be incredibly, incredibly close, especially because most of the Horse Archers would probably end up getting killed against the Melkors chosen. However, honestly, I think it could go either way. I have no idea who would win. I mean, I would probably put my money on Mordor, honestly, but I definitely still think Team 1 would definitely have a chance. So anyway, that will pretty much be the end of this video. Again, thank you to the players who sent me this replay. It was incredibly, incredibly fun. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, go ahead and leave a comment, a like, and a subscribe if you have not already. But this will pretty much be the end of the video. So farewell wherever you fare, till your eyes receive you at your journey's end.